Hey everyone, welcome back to Chasing Roost. Today we're working on a special project for my dad. This bike right here was actually mine up until last year when he bought it from me. It's a 2018, it's in pretty good shape overall, but it was time to give it a bit of attention and a little bit of a makeover, and I want to surprise him with a fresh new look on his birthday this weekend. Since this bike was set up for me, and let's just say I'm a bit heavier and a little faster rider than he is, the springs and valving were way too stiff for him. So I took the forks down to the guys at 405 Mods to get some different springs, custom valving, to better suit the way that he rides, make it a little more comfortable for him as well. While the suspension was out getting some love, I took some time to clean up the bike and I greased up the suspension bearings before I'm putting it back together. Now that I've got everything cleaned up, I'm gonna put some grease in the bearings, especially your linkages and your steering stem. Those things can last a long time if you take care of them. They can also wear out pretty quick if you don't. And if you don't take care of them, they're pretty expensive to replace. Some of them are actually kind of difficult to replace, especially your steering stem bearing. That takes special tools. So we'll throw some grease in there. I'll kind of show you what I'm doing with that, but overall, pretty simple process. Just kind of pay attention to what you're doing. Make sure you don't lose any needle bearings if there are any, if there's any uncaged ones. But I'll show you that process real quick and we'll keep rolling. So these bearings will typically have like an inner sleeve like this one does right here. So this piece right here, that's your inner sleeve. You can push that out through the backside, peek inside of there, see what you're working with. So this particular one right here has caged bearings. So it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at inside of there, but kind of as it sounds, there'll be a cage around the bearings versus just regular loose needle bearings where they'll all just be packed in there and the only thing holding them in is the sleeve. So we'll get this stuff kind of cleaned up and then we'll just pack more grease in there, put it back together, and we'll be good to go. Just giving it a wipe down, making sure there's not pitting or rust spots, anything like that that's gonna keep that from working properly. You can clean out the inside of the sleeve by just putting the end of a rag in there and pushing it through with the screwdriver and just rolling that around. Just to make sure there's no sand or debris that's gonna be riding around in there on your bolt when you put it back in. You can kind of go in there and with some grease, just push it in between the bearings. That way it gets all the way to the back side, not just sitting on the surface of that. Just try to pack it in there between those and the cage. Take a little bit of pressure, but pretty easy stuff. Kind of show you what the uncaged bearings look like. Just kind of see how there's a single roller right here. That's what consists of your uncaged bearings. So there's nothing holding those in there other than grease and the inner sleeve. So the way I like to do that typically is you just take a magnet, so backside a pocket screwdriver or something like that, and you can just drag them all out of there. And I'll just put those here on a clean rag. Make sure you don't lose those things or you'll be looking for them for quite a while. The roller's just sitting right here. You can kind of just spray them down real quick and you just roll them around in here and that cleans them off. So these ones are fine. They're not in bad shape or anything like that. They're not rusted or pitted or missing. That would be a problem too, obviously. So we'll just roll those around, get them cleaned up, and then put them back in. So we'll just put some grease in here. That way those rollers have a place to stick to when we put them in there, and they should all hang out there till we're able to put that sleeve back in. So grab one, put it in, see how you accidentally picked up one right there? Make sure you don't grab those on accident and fling them around the shop. And you'll start to kind of pack them in here, kind of like this. And once you go all the way around and you're done, let's put a little bit of grease in and put the sleeve back in. Something that's pretty common on dirt bikes is your chain adjuster bolt getting stuck inside the swing arm. The chain adjuster bolt is steel, swing arm's aluminum, so electrolysis will happen in there and they'll get stuck. It's a good idea that anytime you have your swing arm off, since you don't have axle or anything like that in the way, it's pretty easy access, is just run those out, put a little bit of NICs on there and then run them back in. A little dab will do it. You don't need much, just towards the end. And mechanic glitter, that stuff will get over everything without you trying. So it doesn't take much, just start that on there, then run it back in. You can run it in and out a couple times, probably a good idea. Sometimes it's the little things, but if that thing was stuck in there and you had to Figure out how to get that thing out of there. That could be hours and potentially really expensive if you can't get it out. So little things like that can save you a ton of money and a ton of time later. So just do it. You can just kind of load up some grease at the top of this and just kind of roll your finger, try to shove it down in that crevice between the cage and the bearing. It's kind of a process on this one. It's not as easy as sticking it in the palm of your hand and forcing the grease through, but same concept. You're just kind of doing it from the other end. A little bit slower. All right, now we're ready for reassembly. If only it worked that easy. All right, now for the fun part, giving this bike a new look. We're swapping out the old plastics, which I took off when I was washing the bike, and putting on a brand new set, and to really make it his own, we're adding some fresh new graphics. Our first step will be putting all the plastics on the bike. We just got this full kit from the Cherubies. You know, dirt bikes have always been a huge part of my life. It all started with my dad. His first bike was an old Kawasaki Enduro back when he was in school. But he really didn't get back into it until I was a kid. Back in 02 or 03, he bought an XR650L. His brothers bought bikes too. They went kind of off trail riding. Before you knew it, I had a bike in a box, had an XR80. Did not appreciate it enough at the time, but I wish I still had that bike because it was awesome. We started out riding pastures and country roads up in northwest Oklahoma. It wasn't too long, one of his friends, Vic Turbush, invited us out to his property to come ride. He had some trails there, and he actually held a race there on his property once a year. And we kept riding there over the winter, and he invited us back to come race the race in the spring. Once we raced that race, man, we were hooked. I don't think we missed a race. If we did, it was maybe one here and there, but we certainly did full seasons for at least the next 5 or 6 years. So many great memories were made traveling all across Oklahoma for those races. And when we weren't racing, we were making over an hour-long trip to go ride every weekend anyways. Man, looking back, those were the days. We had a lot of dashboard time, listened to 80s hair bands, rocking out, spending a lot of time in the garage working on dirt bikes, getting them ready for the next ride or race. We've definitely shared countless memories because of some dirt bikes. One memory that really stands out to me was at a race in Konawa years back. I actually started on the front row. I was having a particularly bad race that day, and my dad, who started a few rows back, ended up catching me. We started to pick up the pace together. I didn't finish well, but he ended up winning his race, and that's pretty cool. My mom actually got some photos of us in the same frame. And another cool thing is, that race at Konawa is exactly where we're going to race this weekend, and we're getting this bike to him. So it feels like it's kind of come full circle. Here we have it, the bike is back together. Minus the fork guards, I doing the graphics on those off of the bike, so it's a little easier for me. Now this is my favorite part, is putting graphics on. I actually designed these graphics on my computer. I certainly took a lot of inspiration from other kits online. He's always been into red, white, and blue themes. Even his race car when I was a kid back in the 90s, rocking the red, white, and blue. Dad knows that I have the bike, that I'm doing some work to it, and I've already shown him the graphics, but just on my computer. That was actually the Christmas gift. Putting it all together, that's a birthday gift. You can kind of stretch these things out if you play it right, but I can't wait to show it to him and see what it all looks like together. Dirt bikes have really been the foundation for so many incredible memories with my dad and my family. Memories that I know a lot of people don't get to share with their parents. For us, motorcycling isn't just a hobby, it's a way of life, and I'm sure it's that way for many of you too. Like many families, my parents put a lot of things on hold and made a lot of sacrifices for us to go racing. It's pretty cool that we both got to go do it together. We were on the same track together a lot of times, experiencing the same bumps and ruts and obstacles at the same times. So we'd always have stories on the way home where, oh, did you hit that log? Oh, and then that new line developed through here, or overall just being beat at the end of the day. But it's really cool to have a lot of those memories that you get to share with your dad. And most people certainly don't get to have those. So I'm really grateful for those experiences. This hole is supposed to be here. I don't know if that was me just messing up in the file or whatnot, but what actually happens, so you build your file and then you put like a blue line all over everything. And that's where your cut line is going to be. So the computer actually recognizes that, and the machine will cut those holes out. That's how you get the shape of the graphic. And so maybe my hole just in the wrong spot, but not really a big deal. Might be able to disguise that a little bit. It's just kind of funny. He's the one that taught me nearly everything I know about mechanics and working on bikes. He taught me how to use tools, how to think critically, and most of all, never to quit. A lot of it didn't make sense to me at the time, but I was always there in the shop watching him work, holding the flashlight in the wrong place, and doing the work that I could do. I guess I picked up a lot of things along the way. He's also a teacher at a career tech where he teaches automotive technology, so auto mechanics. So it's not unreasonable for him to know a thing or two about working on bikes and to pass that along. But he shares that knowledge with his students every day, and he genuinely cares for them, sometimes like they're his own kids. He's helped countless students over the years, and some of them have even gone on to be mechanics and then teachers just like he was. A huge inspiration to me and a big part of why I want to do these videos. I want to share people my knowledge and experiences. I know I'm not always right on everything, but I think I've got a pretty good foundation and I want to help. Once I've got all the graphics put on the bike, then I'll go around with the heat gun. If you do much work with the heat gun before, I should try to manipulate the graphic while you're putting it on. What you'll do is you'll activate the adhesive. So the adhesive you can kind of, it's like sticky, but it's not very sticky until you add heat. It kind of melts that glue. But until you do that, you can kind of pick it up, put it back down, adjust it a little bit. But as soon as you add some heat to it, you can't really do that anymore. So I like to just go ahead and get them all stuck on and get it all worked out how I want it. And then if there's any small wrinkles or anything like that, I'll come back in with the heat gun and try to fix some of that stuff. If I need to use a knife to clean it up a little bit, I'll do that at the end. That is one heck of a before and after. I am pretty pumped on how this turned out. I'm excited for Dad to see it. He knows what he's getting. He knows what they look like, but man, on the bike, they look so much better than on my computer. I'm pretty stoked. Funny little mess up with that hole in the wrong spot. Took a piece of the hole here, put the extra material down here. So kind of funny, but man, I dig the way that it turned out. What do you guys think? I think he's gonna be stoked. For a second round of Great Plains XC at Konawa, and it's my dad's birthday weekend. And another cool thing about Konawa is years back, I started on the first row, Dad started on like the third row, and I was having a rough time of it, and Dad caught me a couple rows back, and we ended up riding together for most of that race. Yep. What do you remember about that race?
Pushed me to a win. So that was fun. We went over in a lot of the same frames on some log crossings and stuff in pictures, so yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's cool to have some of those photos together, some memories of us racing at the same time, but are you ready to see the bike?
Yeah, I'm ready to see the bike. All right. So suspension doesn't make me faster, at least the good looking bike on the waste of money stuff's gonna look awesome.
You're gonna have to go faster.
I look good going down the road.
I should have put it back with the same plastics that were on it.
Oh man, I like the red, white, and blue.
I think it turned out pretty sharp.
That's pretty cool. Oh man.
Turned out pretty cool.
Very nice.
Throw it up here on the stand.
Very nice. Wow. What hidden Easter eggs are on here?
Oh, you'll just have to find out.
I think it turned out nice. I like the fade. I like that fade. We'll have to get our other hand guards on there.
Yeah, we've got some red hand guards to put on here instead of the orange ones.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Nice birthday present.
You're welcome. Well, you paid for all the parts yourself, so I appreciate that.
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
If you have any questions about anything that we talked about in this video, please leave a comment down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and we'll see you at the races. What's up?
Cody.
What, she replied to you?
No, you left the laundry detergent running out. It's everywhere.
Seriously?
I was coming out.
Oh, at least it's just over clothes. And everywhere.
And everywhere.
Oh, let me get the camera.
Well, so what we'll do is we'll throw some of these clothes
Hold on.
in with other clothes.
that, clothes, detergent, everywhere.
I was like, why is this blue? Why is the
I don't want to handle that.
No, you don't have. We can leave it for a little bit.
This bike right here. Ooh, careful with the battery disconnects, huh?